Rookie Michael Jordan was the NBA's worst nightmare. Before the championships, before the MVPs, before the debates that still divide living rooms and barbershops, there was a 21-year-old kid stepping into the NBA with nothing but a pair of explosive legs, a relentless competitive streak, and a memory sharp enough to weaponize every insult he'd ever heard. Back then, nobody called him the GOAT. He wasn't Air Jordan yet. He was just Michael Skinny, hungry, and already carrying a list of grudges that could fill a notebook. And the league had no idea what was coming, because rookie Michael Jordan didn't ease his way into the NBA the way most young players do. He didn't observe. He didn't wait for his moment. He didn't respect the unwritten rules that said rookies should be quiet, patient, and grateful, just to be there. He walked in like someone who had already decided he was the best player in the room and was ready to prove it every single time he touched the ball. From the very first practice in Chicago, where he reportedly embarrassed the veterans so badly that the coach stopped the session early, to the nights he torched established stars who were supposed to teach him a lesson, Jordan turned his rookie season into an announcement. A new problem had arrived, and nobody had the answer for it. But the destruction you're about to see didn't start in Chicago. It didn't start in college either. It started years earlier with disappointment, with humiliation, with the kind of early heartbreak that would harden him into the most ruthless competitor basketball has ever seen. This is the story of how a kid who didn't make varsity became the NBA's worst nightmare before he ever won a single ring. Before the legacy, before the dynasty, before the myth. This is the beginning. Section 1. The first time Jordan took it. Personally, long before Michael Jordan filled arenas, long before he became the face of an entire sport, he stood in a high school hallway staring at a varsity list that didn't have his name on it. He was a sophomore skinny, 5'11", raw, eager. He thought he'd done enough. He thought he belonged on that top roster. Then, he saw the truth. According to Jordan, he walked home that day, went straight into his room, shut the door, and cried. Not because he was weak, but because he felt something he would feel again and again throughout his career. You think I am not good enough? Fine. Watch what happens next. And here's the detail. People often get wrong. He wasn't truly cut. His coach, Pop Herring, later explained that Laney High had a size problem. Their varsity team didn't have a single returning player taller than 6'3". Jordan was promising, but he was still small. Meanwhile, another sophomore, Leroy Smith, stood 6'7". The team needed height, so Smith made varsity. Jordan went to JV. But Jordan didn't care about the logic. All he saw was that someone else got the spot he wanted. And that was enough. He turned junior varsity into his personal stage. Dozens packed the gym to watch him drop 35-40, sometimes more. Coaches from rival schools came just to see the JV kid who played like a varsity star. By the next season, Jordan sprouted to 6'3" over the summer and walked into varsity tryouts with something new in his eyes, not arrogant certainty. He wasn't just ready, he was undeniable. And from that moment on, Jordan stopped responding to disappointment with frustration. He responded with obsession. Every slight became fuel. Every doubt became energy. Every setback became a new reason to attack the game harder than the day before. This pattern, this fire, would follow him into college and later explode in the NBA. Section 2. The shot that announced him to the world. By the time Michael Jordan arrived at the University of North Carolina, he wasn't the high school kid chasing a varsity spot anymore. He was taller, stronger, sharper, and Dean Smith, a coach known for discipline and structure, saw something in him immediately. Not greatness yet, not dominance, but something rarer. A freshman who didn't shrink on big stages. UNC already had stars. James Worthy, future finals MVP. Sam Perkins steady, polished, built for the NBA. Jordan wasn't supposed to be the guy. He was supposed to fit in, learn, and wait his turn. But legends dawned to wait. All season long, Jordan showed flashes mid-range jumpers, fast break finishes, smart defense, but the world didn't fully notice. Not until the night of March 29, 1982, the NCAA Championship, North Carolina versus Georgetown. Patrick Ewing patrolling the paint like a giant shadow. The game was tight the entire way. Every possession mattered, and with UNC trailing late, the ball swung to Jordan on the left wing, not because the play was designed for him, but because he was open and fearless. He rose up with the calm of someone who had been there 1,000 times. The shot dropped. 63, 62, 18 seconds left. Dean Smith didn't celebrate. He simply nodded as if he expected it. James Worthy later said, "That's the moment Mike became Michael." Jordan himself admitted that jumper changed his life. It proved something he always felt but had never shown on such a massive stage. He was built for pressure. The bigger the moment, the sharper he became. Jordan returned to UNC as a star. By his sophomore and junior years, he was collecting awards like routine homework, Player of the Year, All-American honors, national recognition. And even then, he carried the same chip from Laney High. Every practice, every drill, every scrimmage he pushed like someone still fighting to prove he belonged. That mindset would lead him straight into the 1984 NBA draft, where chaos, doubt, and destiny waited for him. Section 3, the draft chaos that almost changed everything. The 1984 NBA draft is one of the most talked about drafts in sports history. But what most people don't realize is just how messy and uncertain everything was behind the scenes. The public saw the picks, the experts debated the choices. But inside the front offices, especially in Chicago, there was tension, disagreement, and genuine fear of making the wrong move. Heading into the draft, everyone knew one thing. Houston was taking Hakeem Olajuwon. There was no debate. No drama, no scenario where they passed on him. Hakeem was a franchise center in a league built around dominant big men. Portland picked second, and that S where everything shifted. Their front office convinced themselves that guard play wasn't their problem. They already had Clyde Drexler, a budding star. What they needed, according to the rules of basketball at the time, was a center. Size dictated everything in the early 80s. So Portland passed on the explosive, game-breaking guard from North Carolina and selected Sam Bowie, a talented but injury-prone 7-footer. It was a decision the entire state of Oregon would regret for decades. Meanwhile, in Chicago, the debate was still raging. The Bulls held the third pick, and not everyone in the organization was sold on Jordan. Some executives insisted the team needed a big man. Others floated trades. There were even whispers about moving down for Mel Turpin, a center who would be out of the league 4 years later. But one person refused to budge. Bulls GM Rod Thorne. Thorne had spent countless hours speaking to Dean Smith. He'd watched Jordan in practices where Dean's structured system didn't limit him. Chicago scouts saw something in those sessions they couldn't ignore. Every sprint, every drill, every rep, Jordan treated all of it like life or death competition. Still, there was doubt in the room. One managing partner reportedly pushed hard to pick a center. And with draft day approaching, Thorne didn't trust anyone not to overthink it. The Bulls even joked about locking people out of the war room so no last-second panic could sabotage the pick. Finally, the card was submitted. Michael Jordan, University of North Carolina. And just like that, Chicago's future changed forever. Section 4. The Olympic trials that exposed a future superstar. Before Michael Jordan ever played an NBA game, He walked into the 1984 Olympic trials and immediately separated himself from 76 of the best amateur players in the country. This wasn't a casual camp. This wasn't a friendly showcase. This was Bobby Knight's domain, run like a military operation, built to break anyone who wasn't mentally and physically relentless. 77 players showed up, including names that would later become NBA greats: Charles Barkley, John Stockton, Karl Malone, Joe Dumars, Mark Price. But every player in that gym, no matter how talented, kept finding their eyes drifting toward the same court. Steve Alford, one of Jordan's Olympic teammates, remembered it perfectly. Anytime Mike was playing, you just felt a buzz. Even the players trying to make the team were watching him instead of their own drills. Jordan didn't just perform well, he dominated every drill. He outran everyone. He outjumped everyone. He defended like someone whose career depended on it. Even Charles Barkley, who didn't make the cut, said, "I'd never seen anything like it." He was tougher, faster, more focused than all of us, and this was before he became Michael Jordan. By the time the roster was finalized, Jordan wasn't just on the team, he was the leader. He went on to top Team USA in scoring, guard the opponent's best perimeter players, and help the Americans finish 8-0 in Los Angeles. And the most important part, NBA veterans were watching. They didn't know it yet, but the rookie who dominated the Olympics was about to walk straight into their league and make their lives very difficult. Section 5. Nike Bets. Everything on a rookie. When Michael Jordan left college in 1984, he wasn't thinking about shoes. He wanted a solid NBA career, maybe an endorsement from Adidas, the brand he grew up loving. Nike wasn't even on his radar. At the time, Nike wasn't a global giant. They were struggling. Sales were down, their basketball division was fading, and Converse still dominated the NBA. But inside Nike's headquarters, one man saw something the rest of the industry missed: Sonny Vaccaro. Vaccaro pushed Nike's executives to do something completely unheard of. Don T signed multiple rookies. Don T spread the budget, put everything into Jordan. Executives thought he was out of his mind. Jordan wasn't a top pick. He wasn't a household name. He hadn't played a single NBA minute. But Nike needed a swing, and Vaccaro insisted Jordan was worth the gamble. The deal Nike offered him was massive for the era: $2.5 million over 5 years, plus bonuses, plus royalties on every shoe sold. But the most revolutionary part was the money. It was the idea of giving a rookie his own signature line, something no NBA player had ever received. Jordan finally agreed, and Nike went all in. New designs, new marketing, a new identity for a new kind of star. When the Air Jordan 1 dropped with its black and red band colorway, the NBA fined Jordan $5,000 every time he wore them. Nike paid each fine happily, turning the controversy into a brilliant marketing callback. The NBA can stop you from wearing them. Within a year, Air Jordan sales crossed 100 million. Jordan hadn't played a full NBA season yet, but he was already changing the culture of the sport. Section 6. The first Chicago practice. That shocked the team. When Michael Jordan arrived in Chicago for his very first NBA training camp, most veterans expected a typical rookie: quiet, respectful, nervous. Someone who would run drills, carry bags, and tiptoe around established players. That's how it always worked in the league. But Jordan didn't come to fit in. He came to take over. From the opening whistle of the first preseason practice, the gym felt different. Players who had been in the league for years suddenly found themselves reacting late, losing the ball, or getting out. Jumped by a 21-year-old with a look in his eyes they'd never seen before. Mark Feil, the Bulls' longtime equipment manager, remembered the moment clearly. Practice ended almost an hour early, something that simply didn't happen. When coach Kevin Loffery walked into the office, stunned staff members asked why he'd stopped it. His answer became part of team folklore. Because Jordan is embarrassing everyone out there. Every possession was the same story. On defense steal, on offense dunk, back on defense steal again, repeat. The veterans couldn't keep up. The pace felt like a playoff game, not a preseason scrimmage. Jordan wasn't trying to impress anyone or make friends. He was sending a message. I am not here to wait my turn. Word traveled fast. By the end of camp, Bulls employees, reporters, and even opposing players were whispering that Chicago might be stumbled onto something much bigger than a promising rookie. They had drafted a force of nature. The team had won only 27 games the previous season, but after watching Jordan in practice, players realized something. The losing culture in Chicago wouldn't have survived this kid. Not with the way he attacked every possession as if someone had personally challenged him to win it. Section 7. The All-Star. Freeze-out and the Revenge. By February of his rookie year, Michael Jordan wasn't just playing well. He was becoming the center of attention in every NBA city he visited. His highlights were everywhere. His shoes were causing controversy. His jersey was a bestseller before he had even finished half a season. And some veterans didn't like it. When Jordan arrived at the 1985 All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis, he didn't look like a rookie trying to blend in. While most players wore the standard league warm-ups, Jordan walked in wearing Nike gear from head to toe, promoting his own brand. To a league filled with established stars who had spent years grinding for recognition, this felt like a rookie skipping the line. That weekend, whispers started circulating. Rookies weren't supposed to attract this much attention. They weren't supposed to outshine veterans. They definitely weren't supposed to sell more shoes than them. According to long-standing rumors, a small group of players, reportedly led by Isaiah Thomas, decided to freeze him out. They wouldn't pass him the ball. They wouldn't involve him. They wanted to remind him how the league worked. Jordan finished the game with just 7 points. He didn't complain publicly. He didn't point fingers. But teammates said he took the slight. Personally, very personally, and the timing couldn't have been better. Chicago's first game after the All-Star break was against Thomas' Detroit Pistons. Jordan didn't talk before tip-off. He didn't nod. He didn't smile. He just played. 49 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and a Bulls win. It wasn't just a great performance. It was a message. You tried to humble me. Now watch what happens next. Section 8. The rookie season that terrified the league. By the time the regular season ended, it was clear that Michael Jordan wasn't just a promising rookie. He was a full-blown problem for every team in the league. Coaches tried doubling him. Veterans tried roughing him up. Opponents tried daring him to shoot. None of it worked. Night after night, he played with the same fire he brought to that first Chicago practice. Jordan finished the season averaging 28.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists, becoming the Bulls' leader in almost every major category. He was third in the league in scoring behind only Bernard King and Larry Bird, and he did it with a level of grace and explosiveness the NBA had rarely seen from a guard. Crowds packed arenas not just in Chicago, but in every city he traveled to. Road games suddenly became events. Kids copied his form on playgrounds. Reporters crowded his locker after every game. Even opponents who hated guarding him respected him. The Bulls, who had won just 27 games the previous season, improved by 11 wins and made the playoffs largely because Jordan refused to accept losing as part of the process. Even in the postseason, facing a tougher, more physical Milwaukee Bucks team, he averaged 29.3 points and refused to back down. But the numbers only tell part of the story. What truly frightened the league was his mindset. Every slight he remembered, Every challenge he turned into fuel. Every veteran who tried to test him became another target for the future. Players thought they had survived his arrival. What they didn't realize was that his rookie season wasn't the peak. It was the warning. The nightmare had only just begun. Michael Jordan, as rookie season, wasn't he supposed to reshape the NBA? He was supposed to be talented, exciting, maybe the face of a rebuilding franchise. But what he actually became right from year one was something the league had no preparation for. Because when you look back at everything he did as a 21-year-old kid, it's almost unreal. He walked into a losing organization and changed its identity overnight. He took veteran defenders players who'd been in the league longer than he'd been able to drive a car and attacked them without fear. He carried himself with the confidence of someone who already knew where his career was heading, long before the trophies and the banners confirmed it. And the craziest part, he remembered everything, every slight, every doubt, every moment someone tried to put him in his place. Most rookies try to survive their first year. Jordan treated his first season like a long list of people he needed to prove wrong. From the freeze-out game to the Olympic trials, from the draft questions to the early Bulls practices, everything became motivation. Everything became fuel. Everything became part of the fire that would turn him from a gifted young athlete into the most competitive force in basketball history. The league thought they were dealing with the new star. They had no idea they were witnessing the rise of a phenomenon. And looking back now, you can see the entire blueprint of his greatness in that very first season. The arrogance, the hunger, the obsession, the work ethic, the grudges, the moments where he refused to be ordinary. So here was the question I want to leave you with. Where does Michael Jordan's rookie season rank among the greatest NBA debuts ever, and did the league even realize what they were witnessing at the time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you love deep, old-school basketball stories like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got a lot more history to uncover.